Yes, hope all of us are doing great. My name is Ernest, and this is Ernest Sciences and Mathematics TV channel. First, I'd like to appreciate all our members for engaging us in the comment section. And also, I'd like to kindly request us to be checking our description boxes for various links of other videos. I'm going to be putting them in our description boxes. So they're going to contain, of course, links for videos with information on the similar topics under discussion. Now, in this particular case, I'm going to look at the concept of carbonates, and this is basically going to be biased on the carbonates of group 1 elements. Now, we're going to see that some of the products which we are going to obtain from the reaction of group 1 elements with other elements or compounds are going to be very essential in our day-to-day applications. Now, in this case, I'm going to particularly be emphasizing on the product of sodium, and that is going to be giving us one of the processes which we are going to use in obtaining an essential compound of sodium, which is basically a sodium carbonate. Now, in this particular case, the mentioned, of course, a list of group 1 elements, which constituted lithium, sodium, potassium, and then we had rubidium, cesium, and francium. Now, we're going to see that the carbonates of these compounds basically are going to be stable, and in this case, I'll just give this one in summary form. Or the carbonates of these specific group 1 compounds are going to be stable, but we're going to see that for the case of lithium carbonate, which is going to be given as such, this is going to display a very unique properties, which is going to be given as a diagonal relationship. Now, in this particular case, we are going to see that lithium and other compounds, which particularly I'm going to mention, it's going to be a diagonal relationship. And other compounds which I'm going, or particularly elements which I'm going to give, are going to exhibit diagonal relationships, in a sense that if we the periodic table, we're going to have this specific element of lithium, we're going to have a diagonal member which is going to be given as magnesium. Now, some of the properties which are going to be exhibited by compounds of lithium are going to be similar to the properties of compounds obtained by of course, products of magnesium, and this is going to be referred to as a diagonal relationship. Now, in this particular case, then therefore, the lithium carbonate is going to exhibit a diagonal relationship with the magnesium carbonate given as such, as opposed to the behavior of other members of the group, which we are going to see in this particular case. Now, apart from this specific case for the lithium carbonate, other compounds of lithium, as I've said, are going to be unique from the, of course, the products, or other compounds of lithium are going to exhibit a unique property, which of course is going to differ from other, of course, compounds obtained from the members of the same group. Now, for instance, we're going to see that, of course, one of the properties which is going to be the aqueous stability. Now, the aqueous stability of lithium carbonate and its instability in with respect to the other oxides of these specific compounds at higher temperature still are going to exhibit this specific relationship of a diagonal relationship with a member which is of course going to be magnesium. Now, other members which are going to, of course, I can just mention, exhibit this diagonal relationship in the periodic table, apart from lithium, going to be beryllium, which is going to exhibit similar properties with, of course, aluminium. And as well, we're going to see that boron and silicon are going to exhibit these specific diagonal relationships as we go by in trying to analyze some of their products or compounds. Now, in this case, we're going to obtain some of the products of the carbonates of group 1 elements, which I said are going to be essential in our day-to-day applications. Now, in this specific case, we're going to see that for depressive diseases which are going to affect, of course, what we refer to as the balance of the sodium and potassium ions. So these are going to be depressive diseases that are going to affect, of course, the balance of these two ions. They are going to be treated using this specific compound of lithium carbonate, Now that's going to be one of the applications of that as particular compound, which is a carbonate of the group 1 element, which of course I've mentioned in this particular case. Now the rest is we're going to go ahead, as I said, one of the other essential carbonates that we're going to look at in the HAPA process, of course not basically the HAPA, the sulphate process is the sodium carbonate, which is going to find wider applications in various parts of industrial processes. One of them is the manufacture of glasses, and of course we are going to see other, like of course perhaps paper processing and other applications which I'm going to mention later in that particular process. Now in this case we are going also to see that the product, of course, or the compound of the carbonate of potassium carbonate is also going to be one of the essential carbonates of the group 1 elements, and that's going to be also obtained through a different process that we're going to refer to as the Engel-Page process, if my pronunciation is correct. So this is going to be the Engel-Page process, which is going to be used in trying to obtain this specific compound from, of course, or process this specific compound through a process referred to as the Engel-Page process. Now we're going to look at these particular processes and some of the reactions which are going to be accompanied, and some of the raw materials which are going to be used in trying to obtain this specific product. In that particular case, we're going to look at other reactions which are going to involve carbonates of group 1 elements. But of essence, as I said, we are going to look particularly in those carbonates which are going to be essential, have essential applications in our day-to-day life. And of course, these are going to be obtained through various processes, which of course I just mentioned in my previous statements. Now in this case, in our next discussion, basically I'm going to look at the general behavior of carbonates and hydrogen carbonates, and that's going to open for us a window of trying to see appreciate some of the reactions which are going to be involved, and of course carbonates of various compounds apart from the group 1 elements which I've discussed in this particular video. So kindly check a link in our description boxes. There we are going also to look at different groups and some of their carbonates, perhaps hydrogen carbonates, chlorides and sulfates, etc., nitrates, so that we are able to see how they're going to display a different behavior, especially under the category of S and B block elements. So that is it for now, guys. By God bless you. Catch us in our next video.